Hello, Aries, and welcome to your August 2023 tarot card reading. Hello and welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. If you are new, my name is Jane. So this month is a really cool month. I'm very excited about August. I think this is kind of the month where we really start to awaken as the sun comes into its dignified position here in Leo, and then we move on into Virgo, which is going to help with the activity levels, which can be really, really fantastic for us. Now, I do apologize. I did not do the July astrology videos. For those of you who have been with me on my journey know that I have some health issues. And actually June and July, there were some things that came up and it was just a lot harder to do things. I have to prioritize my Soul Seekers group, so I always try to get their content out. This month I am hoping to do the August. We'll see how everything goes, the August astrology videos, so keep your eyes open for that. If I don't get it, it's probably just because I'm struggling just a little bit. So feel free to watch these tarot readings for either your sun, moon, or rising sign. If you're here for love, you can certainly check out your Venus sign as well. And that's pretty much it. Thanks everyone for being here. And with no further ado, let's go ahead and get into the reading. Hello, Aries. Welcome to your August 2023 tarot card reading. So let's go ahead here and take a look and see what comes through from my intuitive deck. Okay. Let's see here. Actually, move it in the center so you can see. I feel like there is a shift in direction, kind of a pivot or a detour of some kind that is likely going to happen this month. But it feels, I don't know, the allure of the detour, if you will, it's not just a temptation and it's not a distraction. It feels like an alignment of some kind. And this is just so you know, I'm saying this to every sign. One thing that's really powerful about Leo season specifically, traditionally the sun rules the ambitions of the soul. And when the sun comes into rulership, that means the ambitions of the soul are very strong. So we have a lot of clarity, but the clarity is not necessarily mental or intellectual. It comes from something bigger and deeper. So we may not be able to explain why something just feels right. It just does. So with a detour, the concern is that your mind is going to kick in and it's going to create all of this doubt. But I don't think you should allow yourself to experience doubt just because the path is changing a little bit. Just because the wind is now blowing in a new direction. I do think Aries should explore those new options because I feel that there's something beautiful coming. It kind of feels like things are coming into a straight line for me. I don't quite know exactly what that means, but it feels like things are coming into a straight line. And perhaps that's been something you've been seeking or missing. Is that kind of directionality? Maybe this has a lot to do with the North Node coming into your sign as well. But this is something that Aries should allow themselves to explore. I genuinely believe that. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the tarot cards now. We're going to start with the Major Arcana card. So what is it that Aries needs to know for August 2023. Kind of feel like that one wanted to come out. Okay, the Hanged, yeah. That's actually not a surprising card. It's about surrender. It's about delays. It's about your hands being tied. I don't know how much control you have over this anyway. I think the detour is going to happen whether you want it or whether you try for it or not. You're kind of caught in a current. It's like your soul is officially pulling you and there's just not a lot you can do about it. This is not a time to try to grab the wheel and try to make sure that you stay on that original path. Okay? I'm not saying there was anything wrong with your original path, and I'm also not saying that it's going to completely disappear, but a new direction is emerging for you. And the worst thing you can do is kill it, or squash it with fear and doubt and insecurity. One of the things that Aries is known for is its ability to initiate things. And I think what I love about this is that it is an initiation of some kind. So this feels like a place that you feel strong. Okay? But it's not just an initiation. It's not just a new beginning, quote unquote. It's actually a whole full-on path that it's going to have longevity to it. But it does mean a dissolution of the old, right? And this is kind of the narrative that I'm kind of sticking to with the Pluto transitioning between Capricorn and Aquarius between this year and next year. There is a dissolution of the past and the old. It's slow, but it is happening nonetheless. And when the old dissolves, the new must appear. So I think you're starting to see glimpses of the new. And your soul is like, go that way. Go that new way. Go do that thing. Go try that thing. Go do that lifestyle, whatever it is. And you're not going to be able to push it down or repress it. Because with the Hanged Man, you're just simply coming into a new state of consciousness, and your external world must match it. Okay? So let's take a look at the external environment. What is it that you need to be aware of externally, or who is it specifically that you need to be aware of externally? Okay, this came out for Pisces as well. Now, the reason why that's relevant, first of all, Pisces rules your 12th house, which is kind of a subconscious area. We also have, a lot of you are actually Vedic Pisces as well. So Page of Swords feels like a distraction, and not the good kind that I'm talking about over here. This is not the detour. This is the interruptions. Now, there's nothing inherently bad with the Page of Swords. These are people and opportunities and, people just doing a lot of talking. But I think that's all it is. It's just talking. People are spouting out ideas, and I don't think you should put any weight on anything that anyone else is saying right now. And I really, really wouldn't believe that people are gonna, I want to say, I wouldn't believe that everyone's going to fulfill their promises right now. Like, for example, if I can just give an example, let's say someone is starting a business and you happen to meet that person. Let's say you go out with your friends, you happen to start talking to a stranger. Oh, I'm starting up this new firm. We're, building, we're hiring, we're doing all this stuff. And you say, oh, well, I'm looking for a new job. This is what I do. Do you have any positions for that? And they say, oh, yeah, that sounds great. Let's set up an interview. Let's do this. Let's do that. And it all sounds very promising. But the problem with the Page of Swords is it doesn't really have a lot of carry through. And I don't know that it has a lot of weight. And I feel like people are talking a big game right now. And that's not anything that you should rely upon. Okay? With the North Node in Aries, it is essential that we take accountability for things. And there's an element of dependence with the South Node over in Libra. Obviously, a single individual only really has context in the context of relationships, okay? And there's going to be a lot of learning through relationships as well, but it's all going to push back to you. And this may be like your first little lesson, North Node in Aries lesson here, saying, Aries, you have to do your own detour. It is no one else's job. It is no one else's responsibility to make sure that your future is taken care of. You have to do things for yourself. Okay, and you have to follow your instincts and your soul. You don't want to get caught up in other people's dreams right now unless it is in an exact, perfect alignment with your own, and this person can put their money where their mouth is. Because this doesn't feel like someone who can put their money where their mouth is, at least not yet. And I don't think Aries can afford to be working with people who aren't ready yet. Okay? So just be wary of that. It's not bad people. I don't see, manipulation or anything negative like that. It's just, you need to be aware of what's good for you and what feeds your life and what's positive for you and what doesn't. Okay? So start with the 9-card block here. What else does Aries need to know for August 2023? Material and spiritual prosperity. Fulfillment of wishes. That card's been coming out a lot this month. And rejoice in celebration. And I think the reason is, now some of your manifestations may come to fruition this month, but more than anything, I think it's about initiating the new path so that you can create room for the fulfillment of your wishes. Because it's possible that with the life you've created, I'm not saying you haven't done wonderful things and created beautiful things, but this is a time for more material and spiritual prosperity, fulfillment of wishes. Jupiter is in Taurus. We want more. Okay, we want to have more. We want to own more. We want to experience more. We want to feel better about ourselves. We want to feel more deserving. We want to have more self-respect. We want to have more confidence. Right? That's Jupiter in Taurus. And with all of those things come, moments of being fed up with ourselves and being fed up with a lot of this flimsy type of stuff. The Page of Swords feels really flimsy to me. I don't think Aries has the patience for flimsy. Okay, if it's not solid, if it's not real, if it's not backed up with resources, if it's not grounded and firm, it's not for you. Because if you're trying to initiate something, you got to have some traction. Because if you initiate on something that's slippery, you're going to fall. Right? So you want to make sure you've got traction under your feet. Make sure you've got the right people with whom to do that. And we have the rejoice and celebration, like a 3 of Cups, which is obviously a really happy card. There's connection. And I would say that the people with whom you associate, there are certain criteria, because this can go one of two ways, 3 of Cups. It can be very gossipy and complainy. There can be a lot of passive aggressiveness within this sort of 3 of Cups situation. That can go to one extreme. And then on the other extreme, it can be people who you brainstorm with and you have all sorts of wonderful ideas and they lift you up and they support you and they believe in you. And they're not trying to get a piece of it and they're not trying to inject their jealousy or their envy into what it is you're doing. People with firm boundaries themselves, they have their own stuff going on. They have maybe more success than you, so they're not dependent on you to go be the successful one, all right? And they're not dependent on you to provide for them in any way, especially if this is a professional thing. That's especially true professionally. But I think that there's power in who you associate with, and that power can go either direction. So if you know that connections are charged with that South Node in Libra, and they are, connections are charged, and therefore you have to be extremely selective, because this can manipulate the current of the Hanged Man. Because if you don't have a lot of control, if your hands are tied and you start kind of drifting into a destructive current, you will drift into a destructive current. And the initiation energy coming from this first card can be the initiation of a destruction. And I don't think that's what Aries wants to do. Okay, we want to make sure we're drifting into positive growth and prosperity currents, right? Focusing on the material and spiritual prosperity, associating with people who have prioritized these particular aspects in life. Because these, material and spiritual prosperity, these are the two things that are going to lead to the fulfillment of your wishes. Okay? Next row. What else for Aries? Man, this card has been coming out like crazy too. It's like the Tower card. More partnerships and alliances does not surprise me. And stand your ground. Yes, I love stand your ground. It is kind of, I think, one of the things that's a benefit of being a Mars-ruled sign. Being able to plant your feet firmly in the ground and say, I accept this and I don't accept that. This is what I think. This is what I want. This is what I feel. And throughout Cancer and Leo seasons, we've had that, luminary influence. Moon rules Cancer, the sun rules Leo. So the luminary influence of these two seasons is really self-expressive. And it is an opportunity for us to express our point of view and to give our opinions and to tell people how we feel and what we think and what we want. Because that's one of the tools that we have to help us find this alignment. Because when you're honest, not only with yourself, but with other people, it has to be both. With the nodes in Aries and Libra, it has to be truth to yourself, honesty with yourself, and honesty with other people. It has to be both. You can't tell yourself one thing and tell other people something else and still expect to get what you want. Okay? So you have to be firm. You have to ask for the salary you want. You have to ask for the clients that you want. You have to ask for the wedding ring that you want. You have to ask for the lifestyle that you want. And you have to ask it of yourself, and you have to ask it of other people. And partnerships and alliances, it goes hand in hand with everything I just said with the Rejoice and Celebration 3 of Cups card. This is about holding hands, quote unquote, with the right people. And I kind of look at this hand position in this image, and it looks like someone is pulling someone else up. And there's a mutual exchange. You help them and they help you. Yeah, it's transactional. And as much as we would love to wax poetic about being, unconditional love and all that, I think, being a human being, we have to just accept that there are a lot of transactional relationships, and many of them can be beneficial to everyone involved. So make sure that if you're going to have some type of transaction, that is just as beneficial for you as it is for them, and that there is no lopsidedness. Because if you don't do something that's too much in favor to you, they may not deliver because they may feel it's not fair. And we got to think about fairness with the South Node in Libra. And if it's lopsided in their favor, there might be resentment that grows within you about the alliance. So that's not going to work either. So there has to be an equal balance of give and take, and the expectations and the roles need to be clearly defined. This is not a scary thing. This is for the sake of fulfillment of wishes for everyone, not just you, not just them. It's everyone involved. But the disruption, or the Tower card, tells me that you are going through this process of eliminating your weakest link. Now, that weakest link could be a myriad of things. It could be a person. It could be a financial situation. It could be a habit or a behavior that you exhibit, or a pattern that you continually live out. It could be a lot of other things too. Those are the big ones. But I feel like whatever it is, that's what's coming crumbling down. But it feels like this crumbling down is happening not necessarily because you're willing it to, but more so because you're rising in vibration. We can do law of attraction-y type of stuff here. Your vibration is increasing, your consciousness is expanding, Hanged Man, and you're aligning with the right people, which are helping you to sustain that higher vibration. Okay? Because it's one thing, like let's say you go out and you meet someone for like an hour and it feels great and it's amazing, but it's only an hour. And then you come back and you just keep going on with your regular life. That's not enough to sustain that good feeling. It's not enough to sustain that motivation or to sustain that excitement or inspiration. It has to be a continuous effort for you, Aries, to be around the right people. If you are a hermit type person or an extreme introvert and you don't like a lot of social activity, I think this might be a time where you're going to have to get out a little bit. You're going to have to kind of stretch yourself, and I'm not saying you can't be content and happy with many aspects of your life, because you certainly can. But I know with Jupiter in Taurus, and it was true last year as well with Jupiter in Aries, that we all wanted more for ourselves. And that's going to continue until Jupiter moves into Gemini in 2024. So right now is the time to make sure we're in the right rooms, and we're in the right conversations, and we're in the right mindset. Because if you're making a detour here, chances are, and it's a detour that feels right, chances are you're going to fight for it. And I love when an Aries has a cause to fight for. Okay, I think it gives you a sense of purpose. It gives you something to wake up excited about. All right. Last row for Aries. Recognition and reward. New beginnings, beautiful, like the Fool card. And the Moon card, Shadow. Yeah, the Shadow's not a surprise. The Tower disruption almost always brings out a shadow. Because it might be calling you to behave in a different way. And it's a way that might not feel natural to you, because you've either never really had to behave this way, or you didn't know you needed to. You didn't know you needed to do these things, or you didn't know that you had to stretch yourself in this way. So when that happens, our shadow comes out, and it's scared. And it's maybe upset. And this is when all your spiritual work comes in really handy, because you can sit with that, and you can offer love to that, and you can give yourself a big spiritual hug, and you can, remind yourself that the conscious part of you and the afraid part of you ultimately wants the same thing, right? The part of you that's scared still wants to go out in the world and be successful. So there does seem to be a kind of what I might call like a come to Jesus moment here with the Moon card at the end. And there's also this embrace of a lot of the unknowns that you're facing, because you are facing a lot of unknowns, because you're doing things in a different way, or at least you have the option to. I'm not saying every Aries is going to completely change, but they have the option. I mean, we always have it, but sometimes we're a lot more astrologically aligned to do it. And I think right now we are. We're aligned to make these adjustments. And some of you might just need small little ones, and others of you might need big ones. But either way, there's lots of promise. And with the New Beginnings card, there's a sense of enthusiasm and excitement, but there's also kind of a higher intelligence that's exuding through. And I certainly see that with the Hanged Man too. It's hard to cast judgments, and I actually recommend you don't cast many judgments right now, because we need to acknowledge that we're simply operating from a lower conscious mind, but that there is a much bigger mind that is a part of us that kind of has control right now. So if we judge too much, we might be cutting ourselves off. I think judgment, and we got to talk about judgment now with the activation of Virgo. A lot of judgment comes through Virgo. It's a lot of often self-judgment, but judgment is like the antithesis of prosperity to a degree. I don't mean that exactly literally, but judgment kills so many dreams. And it kills so many potentials. And insecurities do the same. And so allowing your higher intelligence to pour through you, and it may feel a little haphazard, and sometimes that's not always a good thing, but I do think right now it is. It does feel that way, as long as you're with the right people to help you sustain it. Because some of you, you're going to try to do it entirely on your own, you know, without any support, without anyone to talk to. And it's going to be so easy just to fall back in line, fall back with the way it's always been. The relationships are so, so, so important. All different types, not just romantic, okay, not just professional, all different types. Platonic, all professional, romantic too, parent relationships, neighborhood relationships, you know, all different types. Recognition and reward, you know, this is an opportunity for you to do something well, for you to do what you already do well and apply it in new ways to do something greater, to make more money, to contribute more value to a company or to a community or whatever the case may be. But I'm suspecting you're in this position right now because you know you could be doing more. You could be doing more for your family, more for your children, more for your spouses, your loved ones, more for your parents, whatever the case may be. Because with Jupiter in Taurus, we're all kind of going through this thing where just something just isn't enough. And I don't mean, you know, we need to be feeling badly about that. We like these moments because it pushes us and it instills new desires in our hearts. And when we have new desires that grow, we have new life chapters that open up, and it's a beautiful thing. It's like a new flower beginning to blossom, and it really is special and miraculous in its own way. Okay? All right, let's pull out the clarifiers. Aries, what is it that you need to know for August? So for those of you who are new, we're going to pull out a bunch of new cards. We're going to talk for another 20 to 30 minutes about all of these in the comprehensive reading, and the link for that can be found in the description box down below. All right, so let's take a look. The Hanged Man. We have the Hierophant. Beautiful, love that. Ace of Wands. Kind of feel like that card. And another Three of Cups. In the environment. Six of Wands. King of Wands. And Two of Coins. All right, environment's not really all that bad. All right, material and spiritual prosperity. What does Aries, what does Aries need to know? 10 of Cups, 3 of Coins. Amazing. 10 of Wands. My goodness. These cards are, I always call it, when they do this, they're like dancing. They just, boom, they just keep spitting out here. And Knight of Swords. 2 of Coins again. Page of Wands. 4 of Cups. Hierophant again with the Magician on that Tower card or the Disruption card. 8 of Swords. The King of Coins. 5 of Cups. Temperance. Stand your ground. 9 of Swords. Ace of Cups. I think you are being asked to be strong. You might be asked to say something you don't want to say or do something you don't really want to do, but you know is right. You know is honest. 2 of Wands. Knight of Cups. Another, well, not another, but a Wheel of Fortune. 6 of Swords. 7 of Coins and 7 of Swords. All right, so this is where we're going to pick up in the Comprehensive Aries if you want to join. Again, the link is in the description box. Thank you all so much. You guys know I love and adore you. Have an amazing August, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.